Alrighty y'all, this is World Class Jerk, and while uploading yesterday's video, I discovered something very interesting. You see, the wall socket was being very strange. It was causing strange side effects with my hardware, and so I decided to see what was going on. I unplugged something from said outlet, and dozens of ants started pouring out. Yes, ants started pouring out of my wall socket, and so I took off the cover for the wall socket, and as you can see on screen now, it was a beautiful sight indeed. I saw some crazy things. It gave me nightmares, but anyways, even though I saw all these terrible things, I still got up today, and I made this glorious video for you, the viewer, and so, like and subscribe. Anyways, guys, yes, if you clicked on this video, you do in fact know that we are going to be covering all the planets in Astroneer and moons, and their uses in detail, so that you can make the most calculated decisions in order to get your resources. Furthermore, for the sake of efficiency, which we are all about here on the World Class Jerk channel, we are going to be excluding resources that are in the soil centrifuge. That will be compound, resin, organic, clay, quartz, graphite, and ammonium. We will not be including those when we review each planet as a resource that can be found on said planet, because they are available by using soil, and soil is abundant on every planet. Therefore, every soil centrifuge resource is abundant on every planet. Furthermore, our beloved laterite is also available on every single planet, so it will also be excluded when we go over the resources that each planet has. Also, for more context for you, the viewer, each time we review a resource on a planet, we're going to be going over its abundance on said planet on a scale of 1 to 3, 1 being it's not very abundant on said planet, 2 being it is sort of abundant on said planet, and 3 meaning that that's probably one of the greatest places to get it, if not the greatest place to get it in the game, so that is the abundance rating. And also, we're going to be going over where it's located, which is always either caves or mountains just about, and then lastly, we're going to be going over whether or not you need a drill mod, and what tier of drill mod you need, in order to get the resource most efficiently. But with all that out of the way, we can now get started with the first planet which we happen to be standing on, and that is Silva. Anyways, guys, the way we're doing this video basically is by heading over to the Astropedia. You simply press the pause button, you go over to this, and boom, you are in the Astropedia. Then you click on planets, and it will tell you stuff about it. Now, as conveniently as it happens to be, this goes by the same scale we are using. This excludes soil centrifuge resources and aluminum. So, it already tells us everything we need to look for so far as to do research on, but of course, we want more information than just what it is. We want to know where it is, obviously, which is mentioned here, but we also want to know how hard it is to get by abundance and if it needs a drill mod. So that's the way this video is going to be. We're going to be covering more detail, basically. We're basically doing what the Astropedia mentions, but more. So, yeah. Anyways, yes, for the sake of convenience, though, we are going to be going in the same order as the Astropedia when we do this video. So the first thing we're going to be covering is sphalerite, which is called zinc when smelted, if you didn't know that already. And we're going to keep this one brief because you probably already know about this because it's a very basic resource and it's in the first layer of cave and it's really abundant. I mean, we're going to give it a 3 out of 3 for the abundance here because it is indeed very, very abundant. Next up on the home planet Silva is going to be malachite, which when smelted is copper, and its abundance is probably 2 out of 3 instead of 3 out of 3. Not entirely terrible, but also the problem with this is that the veins aren't too terribly big. They're not small veins, but they're not huge. And also, another problem is that you need a Drill 1 mod to get them at max speed. But yes, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but they are only found on mountains on the home planet, and so that does cause it to be somewhat annoying, but at the same time, you do have to realize that things found on the home planet may be more convenient anyways, because it means you do not have to blast off. Just something to keep in mind, but we don't want to get too in-depth with each resource on each planet, because we have a lot to cover in this video, so with that being said, we're going to move on to the gases of the home planet, which are only hydrogen and nitrogen. Nitrogen being 100 ppU, whatever that means, and hydrogen being 75 ppU. Not much to say about the gases ever, because its abundance is very clearly measured. It is by ppU, you don't have to go look in caves or anything, you just need an atmosphere condenser, and so covering the gases in this video is going to be pretty brief. And yeah, so anyways, I just want to mention this real quick right now. We are just going over the information right now, but at the end there will be a sort of overview, so if you want to skip to that, that's just fine. But to make things less confusing, yes, we are going to review all of this on a sort of chart. Don't really know exactly how I'm going to do that yet, but yes, just do know that we're going to make this very easy to understand in the end, and even try to give you some quick tips as to how to get each resource. But yeah, anyways, next up on the Astropedia is Decilo, offering us wolframite and sphalerite, and no gases because there is no atmosphere, and that's unfortunate. Wolframite, though, which when smelted is tungsten, is a 3 out of 3 abundance, no drill mod needed, found in the first layer of cave. Not hard to get to, this is definitely a good place to get it. Sphalerite, though, which when smelted is zinc, as we discovered before, is a 3 out of 3 abundance as well, found on mountains, no drill mod needed. And so on to the next planet. Next up on the Astropedia is going to be Calidor, offering us malachite and wolframite, and for the gases hydrogen and sulfur. And so we'll get straight into it with malachite now. Malachite, which when smelted is copper, is found in the first layer of cave. You need a drill 1 mod in order to mine it at its highest efficiency, and its abundance is 1 out of 3. In other words, don't come here for copper ever. It's real bad. And here is wolframite, which when smelted is tungsten, and it is also needing a drill 1 mod in order to mine at its max efficiency. It looks oddly similar to research items here, which is kind of funny. Anyways, you do need a drill mod for this one, drill mod 1 to be exact. All of these I'm pretty sure is drill 1 mod, but at least all of them so far is drill 1 mod that is needed to mine them. And so the abundance here is going to be 3 out of 3, but it is on mountains, and you do need a drill mod 1, and so you are better going to Decilo for tungsten. Anyways, Calidor offers us sulfur at 100 PPU, which is the max amount of PPU that you can possibly get for any gas, by the way, so that is very, very good indeed. But hydrogen at 50 PPU, and you can get hydrogen at 75 PPU on the home planet, so do not come here for hydrogen. But sulfur is as good as it gets here, and so that's a good thing. Next up on the Astropedia is Visania, offering us lithium and titanite, and for the gases hydrogen, argon, and nitrogen. So we will jump straight into this with lithium. Anyways, here we are in the first layer of caves, and we have ourselves some lithium here, which you do indeed need a drill 1 mod in order to mine, and the abundance is easily going to be 3 out of 3. Not much left to say, it's lithium. There is no which when smelted for this one, it's just lithium, you do not smelt it, and so that's the end of the story. Titanite, which when smelted is titanium, big surprise, is an abundance of 1 out of 3 found on mountains, no drill mod needed. Hydrogen at 100 PPU, which is better than the home planet, but still maybe not worth coming here, but maybe under some circumstances. I'm going to save the details for the summary though, and then there's argon at 50 PPU, this is better on Glacio. If you're going after argon specifically, go to Glacio instead. And nitrogen at 75 PPU, which is worse than the home planet, which has it at 100 PPU. That was a mouthful. Next up on the Astropedia, Novus, which is the moon of Visania, and I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but Decilo, the second planet we covered, is actually the moon of Silva, which is the home planet. Anyways, offers us hematite and lithium, and for gases, hydrogen and methane. Next up is hematite, which when smelted is iron, found here in the first layer of caves with a 2 out of 3 abundance, and you do not need a drill mod in order to get this one. And lithium, which again does not smelt into anything, found on the mountains with a 2 out of 3 abundance, and there is no drill mod needed. Now, even though you do need a drill mod to get this on Visania, I personally think that's probably where you should go, just because of the abundance being better, but you do you. The gases are hydrogen at 25 PPU, which very, very sucks. Do not even like it. No, alright, just don't do that. Methane at 75 PPU, which is pretty dang good, so that is the gases on this planet. That's the only 2 ones there are, methane being pretty decent, and hydrogen being so bad that it may as well not exist at all. That takes us to Glacio, offering us titanite, hematite, and for gases. It only offers us argon, but it does so very well. Kind of a spoiler, I guess, but we'll get into the details later, of course. Titanite, which when smelted is titanium, will be here with a 3 out of 3 abundance, and I'll actually stand corrected because earlier I said I think all of this will only be a drill mod 1 at most, when indeed for the max efficiency here you will want a drill mod of 2, but you can take a drill mod 1 and it will work, but I do recommend getting a second one because they're really not that expensive. But yes, you do need a drill mod 2 for this one, and this is indeed the first layer of cave, and that is where it is found, and so, yes, but also, side note, sometimes you will find them in this, so technically, you can get a drill mod 1 for this here, but it's usually in the blue, so you're going to want a drill mod 2 for that, but I am now spending too much time on titanium. We're going to move on to hematite, which when smelted is iron, and it is found on the surface, not necessarily mountains, which is kind of a weird change of themes here, but it is on the surface, and it is iron, and it's got a 3 out of 3 abundance, no drill mod needed. Very, very easy to get iron on Glacio. It is absolutely everywhere. Just look around, it is absolutely everywhere. You see some off in the distance there, here, and over there again, and there, I mean, it's literally everywhere. I almost want to make a new tier of 4 out of 4 just for this because of how much iron there is on this planet. Yes. But Argon is indeed offered to you on this planet at a maximum of 100 PPU, which means you will get a crap ton of Argon on this planet, which is definitely a good thing. This is the place to go if you're specifically after Argon, and again, we will get into more details involving that later. Last and certainly least, due to the troubles you will endure, is Aatrox, and I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, Aatrox is completely and totally useless just about except for Helium, because Aatrox is special for this. Helium can only be gotten on Aatrox. This is the only place in Astroneer where Helium can be gotten, and since there are no notable resources other than gases, we'll just get straight into talking about that right now. Coming up first in the gases is methane at 100 PPU, and the only planets that offer methane are here on Aatrox and on Novus, the moon of Visania. Nitrogen is here as well at 50 PPU. Do not get it, it sucks compared to the home planet because the home planet offers it at 100 PPU. Sulfur is here at 75 PPU, however Calidor has it at 100 PPU, which is better, but maybe you would want to come here instead under certain circumstances. But of course, more details on that later. And lastly is Helium. The only place Helium is available is on Aatrox, and it is available at the lowest possible rate of 25 PPU. There is no pleasant way to get Helium that is not AFK. It takes a long time to get Helium. And so yes, that is really why Aatrox matters. If this was not a thing, then the only other good thing it has is that this is the best place to get methane, but the only thing that's special about Aatrox is that you can't get Helium anywhere else. But anyways, guys, since we've discussed everything now, we are going to go on to the summary of basically, I guess honestly, it's kind of going to be a quick discussion of how to play Astroneer. Freaking alarm! Ruined my commentary, but I'm not going to cut this out because my throat's still sore, so y'all just going to have to deal with it. Alright, my friends, it is indeed summary time, and I'm going to keep this extraordinarily brief because this video isn't exactly about how to play Astroneer, but rather it's about how the resources are useful to you. And even though those are very similar concepts, I'm going to try to stay more on the side of how the resources are useful by giving you a sort of brief way of how to play Astroneer. And the gist of it is focused on Glacio and Aatrox, landing on Glacio before you go to Aatrox, because Glacio is how you get bites, and both of those planets combined will be giving you most of the resources you need for the RTG, and most of the bites you need for the RTG, and the RTG really is a pretty big go. I mean, it's kind of the thing you want. It's kind of what marks the late game, and so these two planets are going to be the best way for you to get that, probably just about, and so that's really all I have to say about this, because if I get too in detail here, it's just going to get more and more complex until we have a whole lot to talk about. So basically, Glacio is the best planet, Aatrox is needed because of Helium, and the other planets are obviously useful in their own ways, but since we use the RTG as our go, then these are the planets you would want to focus on first in order to achieve that. But everything we discussed in this video is now going to be on screen in a sort of chart, I guess. I haven't made the chart yet, I'm just talking right now. But you see on screen now, so I don't even know why I'm telling you about it. It is going to give you all the information you need to come to your own conclusions, but Glacio is probably always the best one to land on first, even if you're not going for the RTG, because of the bites, and that is what you want in the early game. But yeah, I'm just gonna I guess this is it. Have a nice day.